Hello, Jackets fans, and welcome to Boom and Gloom, a Columbus Blue Jackets podcast where I discuss the boom and the gloom, which means the good and the bad of CBJ hockey. My name is Anthony, and I call myself North America's longest suffering hockey fan. If you've been here before, you know exactly why I say that. I haven't come across anyone who has argued that with me. Haven't argued that claim, so I'm sticking with it because I firmly believe I am. And I usually explain why I call myself that, like every other episode or so. So if you're new around here, feel free to check out last week's episode and you will understand my pain. To all my returning listeners, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for coming back for more of this. Basically complaining about the Blue Jackets. That's pretty much what this is all about, what it has become. Because that's all that seems we're able to do as fans lately. This summer has been a summer of suck. And the title of today's episode is Remember the Good Old Days? And that's a South Park reference, if any of you have watched that and know what I'm talking about with the member berries. But remember the good old days? I'll explain why I chose that title later on in the episode. But as I just said, it has been a summer of suck. Before free agency began, I was optimistic about this summer. I felt that Don Waddell didn't do much last summer, or didn't do enough, if I'm being honest. But I gave him a pass. I thought he just completed his first season with the team. Maybe his process takes longer than I would like him to. He was handed a team of Jarmo Kekalainen contracts, so maybe he needed time to put his own stamp on the team, to make it Don's team instead of Jarmo's team. The one thing I don't know if it's the one thing, but one thing that I felt he handled poorly was the Provorov situation. That was about a bad contract, if you ask me. Still is, in my opinion. Mostly for the term, not the AAV, and the fact that it has a no movement clause. But anyway, it was that was one bad big decision, but I still gave him a pass. All right, I felt he could really start to turn the team around moving forward. Then, during the season, he made some questionable calls. Looking back, trading Chinakhov to a division rival for, in essence, a few months of Mason Marchment just seems like a bonehead move to me. Basically now, the team has traded Chinakhov for nothing. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Okay, my point is that after a lackluster summer and then a lackluster season, I expected something significant to happen this summer. I expected Waddell to put his stamp on the team and make some real changes to the roster. Moves to improve a roster that has not been good enough the last two seasons to qualify for the playoffs. Instead, we got Nichushkin, who I know a lot of people see as an upgrade from Marchment, but I see as more of a lateral acquisition, and Ryan Lomberg, who I see as a complete wasted signing, if I'm being truthful. Nothing against Lomberg himself, okay, but he's a fourth liner. I have no problem with having a person of his skill level, his energy level, on the Jackets' fourth line. What I don't like is that having him takes a spot away from a younger, hungry player looking to step into the lineup. Someone maybe like James Malatesta. Did Don really need to go out and spend money in a roster spot on Lomberg? My opinion? No, he didn't. But I have never been someone afraid to admit when I am wrong. So hopefully Lomberg will prove me wrong. But I'm telling you people, when you've been a fan as long as I have, and have witnessed so much failure and disappointment, I am usually not wrong about things like this. And what else? The Jackets had 4 main free agents, okay? You had Marchment, Jenner, Coyle, Goodbranson, and then you also had Danton Heinen. The consensus among most fans was that you sign Coyle or Marchment, possibly both, but you move on from Jenner, Goodbranson, and Heinen. I mean, after all, according to Rick Bowness, the team has to change its losing culture, right? And a good way to do that is with new personnel. Inject some new blood into the locker room. Maybe find some new chemistry on and off the ice. Everyone expected big changes this summer. Or at least, hope for them. So what does Waddell do? He resigns 2 of those 3. He brings back Goodbranson and Heinen. I don't care that Goodbranson is a great leader in the locker room. Okay, I don't care that he's a great person, and I don't care that he has size and plays a physical game. What I care about is results, and the Jackets, as currently constructed, have not delivered. Don had the opportunity to bring in someone new on defense. But what does he decide to do? He decides to bring back the exact same defense as last season. Exactly the same. Could have made a trade for someone. Or allow someone from the Monsters to try and win a spot. Nope. Don Waddell decided it was best for the team to bring back the exact same defense as last year. And by the way, Goodbranson has proven he can't even stay healthy. Why bring him back? And then Danton Heinen. Again, why? I received some pushback on social media for speaking my thoughts about Danton Heinen. He's a depth signing. All teams need depth. He's a 4th liner. He'll be on the Monsters. What's the big deal? Here's the big deal. Number 1, just like my issue with Lomberg, if he is with the big club, he is taking a roster spot from someone, a Monsters player, someone who might earn his shot, like at training camp. Number 2, last season, this team, this coach, has proven that he feels that Heinen is good enough to be on our first and second lines. If you remember, he played there quite a bit with Johnson and Voronkov struggling. So don't give me that he's just a 4th liner when the coach is going to play him on a spot much higher in the lineup than he should be playing if someone starts to struggle. And number 3, again, you're trying to change the culture. You're trying to make the playoffs. Last season's team wasn't good enough. So why bring back the exact same players? This is the exact same team, except for Nichushkin for Marchment and throw Ryan Lomberg in there. That's it. Same exact team. Shake it up. The last 2 seasons didn't work out, so why keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting better results? So that's one reason why this summer has sucked. The roster situation. And that's not even taking into consideration the fact that Adam Fantilli, supposedly the future of our franchise, still remains unsigned. And I admit, I'm not a capologist, all right? I'm just going by what I see on Puckpedia. But if I'm right, the Jackets only have $13.5 million remaining under the salary cap to sign him. And considering what Carlson and Bedard signed for, I'm confused about what's going on. What is the plan here? Is Fantilli seeking more than 13.5? And if so, what is Don Waddell going to do about that? How is he going to accommodate Adam Fantilli's requests? There's not enough money and too many players on the team with no trade clauses. You can't just ship someone out, easily at least. And what is stopping another team from going the Carlson route and signing Fantilli to an offer sheet of, I don't know, say $16 million? I mean, if that happens, how do the Jackets even match that? I don't see how they do it. And at the same time, I don't know how Fantilli and many, many other professional athletes, I don't know how he doesn't realize that insisting on a figure that would put his team up against or even over the cap prevents a general manager from signing other better players to surround you and help you win. Now, I'm just an average middle-class guy sitting in a chair, not playing professional sports. But if I was, I would take a team-friendly contract, maybe a shorter term, and say, okay, I'm still getting rich here. I'm still getting more money than I could have ever imagined. So I'm good financially. And I'm playing a game I love. But now I want to win. I saved my GM some money. So now it's on him to surround me with more talent to improve this team. And if that doesn't happen, I'm letting him know that I will walk when this contract is up. And I know I'm oversimplifying something that is most likely very complex. But to me, it's like, I'll take 10 million instead of 13.5 million. Okay, use that extra cap space and build us a winner. And if Fantilli is requesting more than the cap allows, that means Waddell would have to trade or buy out someone to free up cap space. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want my teammate to lose a job because I wanted 14 million instead of just a measly 10 million. And again, I recognize that's easy for me to say in my, middle-class home, my middle-class life with my middle-class job. I understand that. Regardless, here we sit, Fantilli still not signed. Just another component to this frustrating summer. Jet Greaves and Cole Sillinger are signed now. Great. But here's the deal. Once Fantilli is signed, assuming, he will, the Jackets will no doubt be at least close to the cap if not right smack up against it. Therefore, we can say the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to be a cap team this year. So let that simmer for just a moment, okay? The Columbus Blue Jackets, the team with 6 playoff appearances total and 1 series win in a quarter century of existence, will be a cap team. The team that has missed the playoffs the last 6 seasons and haven't really changed their roster much is a cap team. That is just crazy for me to think about. That just screams bad roster management. And both Jarmo and Don Waddell are to blame for it. The Jackets are a cap team that offers no optimism for us fans. I mean, if they were a cap team and were Stanley Cup contenders, so be it. I mean, you spent your money on a winner. But I'm certainly not convinced this is a winner. And if you are optimistic about this season and beyond, and I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who are, I am very envious of you. I wish I could think that way. Instead, I see it as a potential disaster for this season and, worse, a disaster for the next offseason. I mean, have you looked at the contract situation for next summer? Oh man, the team is up against the cap, and granted the cap is going to go up again. But for now, they are up against the cap, and they have Kent Johnson, Dmitry Voronkov, Kirill Marchenko, and Denton Mateychuk needing new contracts as RFAs. And yes, I have talked at length about Marchenko. We all know the situation with him. But I'm going to go ahead and be slightly optimistic here and say that a decent season might lead to him, considering to stick around Columbus. Let's also assume, being optimistic, that KJ and Voronkov have bounce back seasons. How in the fudge nuggets is this team going to afford to re-sign all of them? A lot of extra cash is needed. Who are you going to trade to free up cap space? With so many players with these no trade clauses, it's going to make things very difficult. That is why I really think this is Zach Werenski's last season with the Jackets. Never mind all the stuff that has already transpired and him, apparently wanting to move on or rumored to want to move on. The Jackets may have to trade him to free up cap space. And I'm sorry to say this, and maybe I'm overstating it, but this is a potential disaster in the making. Since it's the Blue Jackets, I'm going to say it's a probable disaster in the making. So yeah, this summer has been bad, and I don't have much optimism at all that next summer is going to be a better one. But it goes beyond the roster this summer. The Jackets have made some interesting, we'll say, decisions this summer. I will just give you my honest opinion and say that I think they have made some stupid decisions, okay? I'm just going to say it. Stupid decisions. Let's start off with Bob McElligott, longtime radio voice of the Jackets. I want to say it's been that he's been the play-by-play man for, I think it was 16 or 17 years now. Well, as you probably are well aware, the Jackets made the decision not to renew his contract for the upcoming season, and instead became one of about 5 NHL teams to use the TV broadcast audio for the radio call of their games. To me, this was an incredibly stupid and insensitive move by the team. And you know what? I should state that I was not a fan of Bob McElligott, the broadcaster, not the person. I'll be blunt here, okay? And I'll say I did not like his style at all. He used what I call a delayed broadcasting style. Hockey is a fast sport, so the radio call should keep up with the speed of the game. Well, I recall on several occasions becoming annoyed while listening to Bob's call of goals in particular. He'd be calling the play, a team would score, you would hear the crowd react, but it would take a few seconds for Bob to say that a goal had been scored. And this is especially applied to the other team scoring. You know, when you'd hear the crowd gasp or, you know, a slight smattering of a opponent's fans cheering for it. And then he'd say that the puck went into the net. Even his trademark, drawn out, forgive me for the impression, and he shoots and scores. It was just not quick enough for me. To me, a puck goes in the net, and it should be instant. He scores! Plus, Bob would sometimes go off on tangents with, you know, little side stories while the game was being played. That might work for TV, where you can still see what was going on, no matter what was being said at the moment, but not for radio. And if you're thinking at this point, why is this guy complaining about the work of a guy who just lost his job? Here's where I'm going with this. Despite these feelings, okay, despite all these things that I just said, you know, me basically saying that I can't stand listening to the guy broadcasting my favorite team's games on the radio, I am angry that he was let go. First of all, a lot of people did enjoy his announcing. They loved his announcing. It just wasn't for me. A lot of people, it was for them. They enjoyed him very much. And he was kind of like an ambassador for the team. He went above and beyond. You know, he did his podcast, the Monday Mailbag. He hosted or emceed various club events. The dude was visible and appreciated by fans. And the Jackets just threw him to the curb. Not only that, but it came out that his son has cancer. Now, suddenly the man won't have medical insurance for his family. Not only that, but this was done kind of close to the regular season, leaving him with fewer opportunities to seek employment with another franchise. This late in the summer, it's going to be hard for him. And not only that, but the Jackets could have offered him another position of some kind to keep a beloved employee with the team. All for what? To save a few bucks. Because that's what I think it boils down to, saving money. The same for Jeff Svoboda. Jeff served as the Jackets insider for I don't know how many years. His articles were read and appreciated by thousands of fans. He was followed by thousands of fans. The dude did great work, and from what I heard, went above and beyond what was expected of him, like above and beyond the job description. He apparently attended every practice and virtually every game. He was like the go-to source for Jackets news. And the team just said, "See you later. Good luck." And therein lies the problem, okay? Despite their deficiencies on the ice, the Jackets have always been highly regarded off the ice as a classy, family-oriented organization. I mean, charity events, fan events, the list goes on. Even though they would suck on the ice, fans like myself still felt a large sense of pride for the team, for how they went about their business, okay? I remember my wife and I went to a game for my birthday one year, and on social media, I posted a photo of us heading to the game and, said it was my birthday. The Jackets game ops department, or whoever it was, found us in the arena and gave us a $50 gift card to a restaurant in Columbus in honor of my birthday. How cool is that? Sought me out to give me a gift card. Things like that just make you think, wow, my team is not very good, but they are good, if that makes sense. But to do this to two long-time, well-respected, well-loved employees at this point in the summer, man, that's just a bad look for the team, okay? It's a bad look for ownership. It makes them look cheap and callous. Is that the right word I'm looking for? Cheap and callous. Aaron Portzline used a word to describe it, and I make this a PG-rated podcast, so I won't say it, but the word he used to describe the situation starts with an SH and ends with a Y. Michael Ayres echoed Porty's feelings on it. So bottom line, no one feels good about these moves, from the fans to the media. And then, to drive home the point even further, the team's promotional schedule was announced today. Now, I will admit I haven't looked at it myself. I'm going by what others have posted on social media. But apparently, there's only one true giveaway this season. It's a hat day. Fans who attend the game get a hat. Well, there was a time when there were lots of giveaways. Giveaways and promotions all the time. This just once again reeks of a team being cheap and tone deaf to their fans. I could maybe feel better about these moves if the team was more successful. If they were playoff or cup contenders year in and year out. Perhaps as fans we could look past all this. Because, hey, our team kicks butt. We're loving life. But we're not. Okay, our team is not very good and hasn't been for much of its existence. The arena experience, the social stuff, the giveaways, that was always still good. The fans kept showing up, enjoying the product, enjoying the experience. But decisions like this are only going to alienate them. They're going to alienate the fans that have been ridiculously supportive of a subpar product for a quarter of a century. It feels like a slap in the face. And going back to Svoboda and McElligott, give them a new position. Keep them as employees. Or, hear me out on this and let me explain, because when I say this, I know some of you are going to think I'm crazy. But if you're ownership and you are that concerned about not making as much money in profits, here's what you could have done. Raise ticket prices. And again, let me explain here, okay? I'm a math teacher, and I'm gonna do some math for you. Actually, first let me just say, from what I have heard, a lot of these cuts could be the result of the team losing revenue that was previously generated by regional sports networks. Since Bally's and FanDuel is no more, that revenue is gone now. So I've heard that is one reason for these changes. Billionaire owners, they have to make their millions back. So let me be clear, I'm not advocating for ownership to do things to make them more money. But if it's going to cost beloved employees their job and put their family's health at risk, then you could keep them on. You show them how valued they are. So when I say raise ticket prices, here's what I mean. Why not raise ticket prices 10 cents? Would you bat an eye if ticket prices went up 10 cents? Like if you budget or you plan to spend $50 on a ticket and then found out that it actually cost $50.10. Would that stop you from buying a ticket? I doubt any of you would. If you expected to pay $50 and you were told you had to pay $50.10, probably wouldn't stop you. It wouldn't stop me. 10 cents a ticket times 18,500 tickets sold for games. And we know that the Jackets don't sell out every game. So I Googled the average. The Jackets, on average, sell 16,878 tickets per game. So let's just round that to 17,000. The Jackets sell an average of 17,000 tickets per home game. 17,000 tickets times 10 cents is $1,700. By charging 10 cents extra per ticket, they would make an extra $1,700 per game. Multiply that by the number of home games next season, which I believe is 42. You get $71,400. $71,400. That's a livable salary right there. You could pay an announcer or a broadcaster a salary, a livable salary, by charging 10 cents extra per ticket. Or I don't know, get creative. 5 cents per concession item. You can do that and make yourself a few more precious dollars and keep some beloved, important employees on your payroll. Am I oversimplifying again? Absolutely. But my point is that if ownership was desperate to save the money spent on the salaries of these two gentlemen, they could have found a way to make it work. But the thing is, I don't think they're desperate. They could have and should have kept these two on the payroll. And that is why the title of this episode is Remember the Good Old Days. It's just a sad state of affairs that I can sit here and yearn for the quote-unquote good old days of CBJ hockey. And I don't, not particularly the product on the ice. That's not what I'm yearning for. But rather the time when there were no concerns about ownership cheaping out on fans. There were no worries about how we'd watch our Jackets on TV next season, because we still don't know that at this point. So the good old days. Our team wasn't very good, but you know what? There was a sense of pride, or I don't know, a sense of unity between the team and the fans. Now it's like there's a disconnect. And I'm not really sure how they fix it. You know, there were rumblings recently about the Blue Jackets being at risk of relocation. And I'm not gonna get into that. It's not gonna happen, at least for a while. At least not until the Nationwide Arena lease runs out, which is, I can't remember, sometime in the 2030s. But it sucks that as fans, we have to even deal with that garbage, that we even have to hear about it. If this team would just win, we wouldn't ever have to hear about it or see rumors about it, about relocation. Winning fixes everything. And on a personal note, could you imagine being me if the Blue Jackets were to move to another city? I would have the dubious distinction of being maybe the only NHL fan in history to lose his favorite home state team twice in his lifetime. That would be utterly, incomprehensibly painful for me. I would probably give up watching the NHL altogether at that point. So what needs to be done? Well, I've addressed that many times in previous episodes and will no doubt do it again. But today, I just want to mention one thing that could be done. Remove Mike Priest. Think about it. What is the one constant for this team since their inception? I mean, players have changed, jerseys have changed, coaches have changed, radio and TV voices have changed, the GMs have changed. I mean, even the ownership has changed. Rest in peace, Mr. Mack. Heck, we even had an attempt at a team mascot change. But Mike Priest has been there since the team's inception. And I can't really comment on what he does for the team on a day-to-day basis, or even whether or not he's good at his job, to be honest. All I know is that the Jackets have been a losing team for the majority of its existence, and the one constant is Mike Priest. I think it would be an appropriate move to remove Mike Priest from his position of power and give someone else a chance to step up and right this ship. Well, as I wind down here, I have to say that was a lot of gloom. I mean, gloomy times for sure right now with this team. But there is one positive bit of news that I want to mention, and that is the Jackets have made the Wheeling Nailers their ECHL affiliate. And I like the move. I wouldn't say I love it, because I would love it if it was Cincinnati, but I do like that it is Wheeling, West Virginia, just a couple hours east of Columbus. I like that they will have an affiliate that close to Columbus and Cleveland. The Nailers were formerly the Penguins affiliate and have been using the Penguins color scheme for their jerseys. So I'm very curious. I'm looking forward to see if they change their uniforms to better match the Jackets or even the Monsters. Yeah, that's it. That's it for the good news. Pretty sad at this point. I wish I could tell you that Fantilli is signed and we have oodles of cap space and Kirill Marchenko has committed to the team long term, but I cannot. I was really hoping for a Jackets uniform change this summer too. I mean, that would have been at least fun. And there you go, owners, by the way. Okay, that will make you a bunch of money. Change the uniforms. Because stupid fans like me will go out and buy tons of merch featuring new logos. Oh, and my brother and I have this joke that things in life would be so much better if people would just run it by us first. The Jackets could have asked us, and we would have told them that new uniforms, new logos would be very lucrative. And actually, my brother, who is a Nashville Predators fan, he's convinced that we should somehow buy the Blue Jackets, and that by doing so, we could turn them around. So we just need about $1 billion more, and then we'll try to make that happen. All right, that is all for me for now. School is starting for me next week. Like I said, I am a teacher, and things are about to get very busy. So you might not hear from me again until training camp or until preseason is in full swing. During the summer months, I try to do one podcast a month, so this is my August one. But you never know, something might happen. I might throw out another episode sometime in late August. But in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me, to talk Blue Jackets hockey at any time. Complain that what I said in this episode doesn't make sense, that my opinion is wrong. Give me suggestions for future topics, or ask any questions you might have. You can find me on social media as Whaler Jacket, or you can email me at whalerjacket@gmail.com. I hope you are enjoying the last part of summer and looking forward to hockey season. The Jackets have certainly made it difficult for me to do so. But I do have hope. A fool's hope. But hope that this upcoming season could possibly be a positive one. You know, we're due, okay? We're due for a surprise. I mean, think about that. Besides maybe the season after Johnny passed, because that was a little surprising that they played as well as they did. But besides that, the Jackets have never really come out and truly surprised the league. I mean, I guess you could argue the 2016-2017 season, the one where they finished with 108 points. That might have been a surprise, but I don't know if that was a huge surprise. I think right now, no one thinks the Jackets are going to pull a Buffalo, come out of nowhere and win their division. Sure would be nice, though. I'm out of here, okay? Thank you so much for listening. Go Jackets, and just, keep that hope alive. That's all we got, right? Take care, everybody.